Hello everyone, Jen here for Country Craft Creations today. Today I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of my Echo Park New Day Spring Folio. And this is just a fun little interactive folio, very clean and simple. And I want to show you real quick what I used. So what I've had for this, I have white artisan cardstock for my base. And then I had the 6x6 paper pad with 24 double-sided papers. I had the chipboards, and I also had the element stickers. And as you can see, I've used quite a bit of both of these. I will set this aside really quick, and then I'm going to show you this completed project. After this, I have a tutorial on how to make the base and some of the elements inside. I do not have a tutorial for decorating it because I'm leaving that up to you. And you can also make this in any papers that you would like or for any occasion. This was just a fun little spring folio project that I wanted to do. So as you can see on the cover here, I've gone sideways with the bloom lettering, which is made with these little chipboard pennants. And then I have one of the stickers going down the side. It's a border. And this fun little Let's Go to the Farmer's Market chipboard. On the back, I've used one of these little stickers that looks like the little market. Super, super cute. I have some of the, I believe this is called Coral. If not, I will correct it on the video. It's the seam binding from Country Craft Creations. So when you open this little folio up, this is 5x7, by the way. And when you first open this up, we have this fun little element here. So this is a pocket. And it could actually hold more than this. And I've made this fun little folio and just paper clip this portion down because otherwise it moves. So this opens this way. You can put a photo there, and then it also opens this way. You can put a photo there and a photo there, or do some journaling here and photo there. And then of course the inside, I've used the border sticker and one of the stickers. I will tell you the measurements of this. Again, our folio here is 5x7, and this little insert is 4.5 by 6.5 to fit in there. So it's a 9x6 piece of paper, and I've rounded the corners on the edges there. And again, that just slides right inside that front cover. And it houses right there. And it also acts as a cover for this. So then when you open this up, if that's not there, I've used one of the little cut aparts from the paper collection. And I've taken all the way through, I've made these 4x6 white cardstock photo mats. And I've added stickers to most of those. So you have the base here that is the pink from the coordinating solids pack for New Day, which I use that as well, but I don't have the package to show you because I used it all. So I just did the cut aparts in here just for fun and just added them in these little tuck spots. And this was just done by gluing right around the side and across the bottom. Over here we have a belly band. Again, use of that sticker that was left over from the cover went here. And we have our photo mat and one of the little cut aparts for journaling. Just slides right in there. Again, 4x6. And now we open it all the way up. Now this one, I have done one of my sliding mechanisms, which I have shown how to create in another tutorial in my baby album. And I've just added some more of these. This again is a 4x6 piece of the white cardstock. Now for the little sticker here, I wanted to make it like a pole, and I did that with this one as well. So I just backed it with some of the paper scraps I had left over and then adhered it to that. And then it acts as a fun little tuck or tab to pull on. I just have that little tucked in there. And again, you can slide this around. Then on the inside of that, you open this up and we have a pocket here. Again, that houses some of these fun little cards. And another 4x6 journaling card. All of the journaling cards are 4x6 with rounded corners, and I've added one of the element stickers to each of them. One of the element stickers here as well as here. And then this page is another belly band We have our fun little 4x6 with the bee sticker, and then a fun little page here. Now on this side, this is a sliding mechanism that is meant to hold down your paper. So rather than putting a magnet in here, I chose to do it this way. So what you have here is just an arm, and I do show how to put this on in my tutorial, but I don't have any decorating on that one. So here we pull this open, and as you can see, this would come off. So you don't want to pull this all the way off, or you could put an end piece on here so it doesn't. But then you have your fun little tuck pocket here with your little journaling cards. Sticker up here. This fun little tuck spot has a fun little tag that I cut one of the little pieces in, and then it hangs out. It says Simply Beautiful, one of the stickers here. And then how this works is you just slide this over, tuck it into the pocket, and then this is glued so that when this is on here, it's only glued in the middle portion of the sliding mechanism, and then you're able to move this over. So then we'll just pull this open, and back here we have our waterfall. Now this was done using the 4x6, or excuse me, the 12x12 sheet of the 4x4 elements. So the cut aparts, journaling cards, I'm not quite sure. I think that's what they're called, journaling cards. And so I've just taken the papers and added those to my waterfall. And there's one for each. And I alternated the colors of the solid papers. And then on the back, they're just the solid. And then back here, we have a tuck spot, little place for the little journaling cards, sticker here. And we have the same thing on this side. So you have your 5-page waterfall here, fun little tuck spot for some journaling cards. You fold that up. We fold this up, slide that in, and slide it over. Super easy, clean and simple, but this just shows you, I mean, I did this all with a pack of the coordinating solids, the 12x12 4-inch journaling card set, and then the chipboards, the element stickers, and that 6x6 pad. And I was able to make this with the white artisan base. So that is the walkthrough of how I decorated mine. And I do have a tutorial coming up that will show you how to create the base of this and some of the fun little mechanisms inside. So thanks. Happy crafting. So we will start with two 7-inch tall by 11-inch wide pieces of the white artisan cardstock. And then we're going to take 1/2-inch score tape. I just want to make sure that I did grab my 1/2-inch here. Yes. And we want to put that right along the edge of one of these sheets and make sure that you get it right up to that edge. But don't go over the edge. So if you're a little tiny bit of the white showing, it's okay. But we want to get as close to that edge of the paper as is possible. And then I'm just going to snip that off. And we're going to burnish that tape down nicely. Get rid of the fuzzy that I don't need. And then I am just going to grab a pick here and pull off my score tape backing. Bring in your other 7x11. And I'm going to use my scoreboard for this. I do like to use my scoreboard at times to make sure that I'm getting things straight. And I'm going to do this on at this angle so it's on its side. And I'm just going to put this right up against here and take my other 7-inch by 11-inch piece. And I am going to put that right up to that tape line, making sure that I'm straight along the bottom. Yep. And then we're just going to connect those. And some people may ask, well, why don't you just take a little bit of extra paper and put it on the end? If you're doing this with 8.5 by 11 sheets, then you can just take two 7 by 11s or two 8.5 by 11s and cut them down. I'm using 12 by 12, and I just prefer to do it this way. So we are going to turn this around, and yes, you're going to have this long hanging spot here. And the reason I connect it first is we're going to end up with a score line that's right here at a 1/2 inch, and it's going to make this portion where we connected our paper a score, which is going to end up being a spine. So you're going to start up here and score at 5 all the way down. And artisan cardstock, if you are using the same as me, is a stiffer cardstock. So make sure you get a nice burnish line, or excuse me, nice score line. Go in and erase that because it's right next to where my paper will go, and I don't want that to show. Then we're going to go and we're going to score at 5.5, and that's going to be our first 1/2 inch spine. Okay, and then you want to go right next to where that connection is and score at 10.5, and you will have to push a little angled in order to get right along that. And then we're going to go to 11, and this one is a little tricky. You want to find where that paper connected, and it's sometimes easier to turn it over and go to that 11 so that you can get right up next to where that line is, so that it doesn't hang over, and it won't show because it's going to be on the inside. So then I just simply want to go over, fold it over where I just scored at that 11. And we're just going to butt this back up to here at the 0. So where you scored at 11, we're going to butt that up to the 0, score again at 5, and score at 5.25. And that is going to leave us with our piece that's going to fold over this way, and it will leave your 1/4 inch score line will become a smaller spine for that back flat piece. And then here, as we can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't need this last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going to have an extra 1/4 inch at the end that you're going to want to trim out that you do not need. So we'll just trim that out. I'm just going to use, I'm going to pull in my guillotine cutter here. So we're just going to cut off that last 1/4 inch there. And then we're going to do some folding here. So we just want to fold in our lines, our score lines, and line your paper up as you do this so that you make sure that it all is straight. Okay, burnish that now that I see my top and bottom papers are straight. Go in and do the same with that second score line. That's going to become our smaller spine here. And what you want to do is you want to butt this up to just behind our score line here. And just make sure that that's going to close over that. Okay, now I'm lined up and straight. I'm just going to go ahead and score that. And now, as you can see, we have our little 1/4 inch here, and this is going to flap over this way. So next, what we're going to do, we've got our lines all nicely burnished. And you can see as we have our 1/4 inch spine here, 1/2 inch spines here, and this will fold into here, and this will fold on top of that. Now underneath of here, we need to add our card element. So you're going to take another sheet of the White Artisan cardstock that measures 5 3/8 by 6 7/8. Place that on the 5 3/8 side on your scoreboard and score it down the side at 1/2 inch. And then just go ahead and fold and burnish that 1/2 inch score line. Burnish this really well. Bring in your folio, and this is going to live right here. So I'm just going to grab some score tape, and I am going to place that right on that flap all the way down to the bottom. And I'm going to burnish it and remove the backing. And then I am going to place this on my scoreboard because I know that I'm 1/8 inch smaller. I did that on purpose so that there would be no chance of it showing. Do this sideways, it's a little easier. And I'm just going to take my piece that's been scored, and I've added my tape to, and I'm just going to leave it a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom and go right up next to just below that score line of that spine. You don't want to go over it. You don't want to go in it. You just want to go up next to it. And then, of course, make sure that everything lines up, which it does. So we're just going to go ahead and burnish that down. So next I'm going to show you how I used 6x6 paper to cover a 5x7 journal. Fairly simple. I did have one sheet of the 12x12, which was the 4-inch journaling cards. Those are used for our waterfalls in the back. And then I also had the 12x12 double-sided New Day coordinating solids paper pack, and that was used for a lot of the matting as well as the waterfalls themselves. So in order to use 6x6 paper, I cut 2 sheets in half to get my space, and that leaves a little bit of space on a 5x7 because we only have 6. And I just put a border in the middle. Now, with the cloud paper, the Echo Park paper pads are actually 6.5. Yes, 6.5. But they have a hole in them at the top. So, in order for this to fit without having to worry about that showing, I will put my cloud paper on the bottom here. So let me just show you. First, I put a ribbon piece of the score tape here for my ribbon to adhere to. When I did the folio base, I marked on there what my front and my back was, and that's what this R here is. Just so I would remember where I needed to put the ribbon. So I am using the seam binding in the coral color. And it works really well with this collection. And I'm just going to put this right along that edge of the score tape and push that down so that I already have a little bit of space where my ribbon is stuck down under the paper. And this just reinforces that. So for the back, I'm going to use the darker blue of the solids. And this is my mat. I'm just going to place that down, and then I will show you how to utilize more of that 6x6 paper with the hole in the top. And I'm just going to hold my ribbon to make sure that it's straight before I place this paper down. And I'm trying to eyeball line it up with the lighter blue of the cover over here, so I can see right about where I have placed all of my paper. And then I'm just going to burnish that all down. And I will tell you, for the mats on this 5x7 folio, I did them at 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. I wanted a little bit more of the white to show. This is a springy, summery folio, so the white just adds a little added color. So I'm going to use the piece with the hole in it, and this one is, these are going to measure 4 5/8 across, and then whichever combination you do them in, as long as they fit, does not matter as far as the top goes. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to add my glue to the back of this piece. Be cautious of that little hole there. And then I'm going to place it down onto my mat, leaving some of that dark blue showing all the way around. And once I have that on there pretty straight, which I did not get that on there straight. There we go, that's a little better. I'm going to burnish down my glue, grab the other piece that I cut, and place it on the top. Leaving that same little bit of dark blue showing all the way around. And see, as you can see, we're going to have a space here. That is where borders come in handy. Adding a border will allow you to utilize a lot more of your 6 by 6 inch paper. As I want it to go across, but I don't want it to cover. So then I just want to pull it down and make sure it covers that hole, and then place it over the papers. All right, and that is how we will add our ribbon and add our cover. As you can see, this will be our cover, and it'll come around and it'll tie here. This is the back of our folio. Next, I will add the waterfall, and I will show you really quick. This piece back here, so the back section of the folio, this is actually a side piece. This is your back and this is your side. So we're going to open this up, and I have cut a piece of paper from the solids that measures 7 1/4 by 1 1/2, and I scored that at, let me see here, just turn it this way. I've scored it at 3 3/4 and at 4, and that's going to give us a 1/4 inch score line, so that when we place this down, as you can see, this is going to become a magnet closure for our folio. So before we add any papers to this, we want to add this. So we're just going to add glue to that back portion, the shorter side. And you just want to butt this right up in the middle of this and right up next to that score line. Not on it, but right next to it. And if it's easier, you can fold your score line down. There we go. And then as you can see, when you close this, once our waterfalls are in here, that 1/4 inch score line is going to give us a little bit more room to have some bulk in here with your waterfall pages and then your pictures. So next, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to add the background paper that goes here and here. And again, I'm using the 6 by 6 patterns, or excuse me, 6 by 6 paper pad, and I'm keeping that hole at the top. And I can do that with this because my waterfall, my first 1/2 inch, will cover that hole. And it's okay that these are a little short because we're going to add a fun little tuck pocket at the bottom of each of these. So these have both just been cut all the way using the entire sheet of paper. And then 4 3/4 inches wide for these pages. Now I've got my papers down. I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to add these little tuck spot pockets that will be under the waterfalls. And these are going to measure 4 3/4 by 2 inches. And I am going to do these in yellow on this side, blue on this side. So I'm just going to add glue to the sides and down one of the long sides. So this will be the bottom, and then like this. Put those all the way down, line it up with the sides of your paper. Make sure you don't cover either one of those score lines. And burnish it down. Okay, so now I have my 2 fun little tuck spots and my belt. I want to move to this inner page here, and this is going to be another fairly simple page. We are going to add green paper to this page as our mat. Line that up. And then I want to add a little angled pocket to the bottom of this page. So what I did here was I had a piece of scrap left over of one of the pages that I had cut. And for this page, it ended up being a 5 1/4 by 4 1/2 piece of paper. It was scored down this side and this side or across the bottom at 1/2 inch, placed on my paper so I could see where it was at, and then I folded this back to see where I wanted my pocket. And I kind of like the way that looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add glue to this bottom portion of the pocket here. I'm going to line this up a little better so it's straighter. And I am going to remove my book from here for a moment. So we have a score line on this side and then a score line on this side. So on 2 sides. And then that was mitered at the bottom. When you close this, you're also going to want to look at the bottom sheet there and miter this bottom. Otherwise it will show. And I'm going to go ahead and miter this one too, just to be safe. So all of our corners are mitered. I've got this nice and straight. And what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and keep that look because I like this. And you can do this. You can also fold this on the inside and things slide better, or you can cut this off entirely. For me, I actually like the way it looks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run glue just up this one side. And then I'm going to adhere that. Burnish it down nicely. And now I have this fun little tuck spot if I want to stick something in here. So I just learned something new right along with you. I'm going to burnish down my score lines. Bring my book back in. And then I'm going to add glue just to those 1/2 inch flaps. And place that down on, whoops, I had it backwards, on my page, like so. And now we have this fun, cute little pocket that also has a fun little tuck spot here if you wanted to stick a ticket stub or something that you wanted to remember. That would be super cute. And that is our ankle pocket. Next, I'm going to go ahead and adhere my waterfall pages. And like I said, I had one sheet of the 12 by 12, and it was the 4 by 4 journaling cards. So I've taken all of those and I've placed them on my waterfall pages. And the waterfall pages, again, are pieces of the solid coordinating that are 4 1/4 by 4 3/4, and they were all scored at 1/2 inch at the top. So keep in mind which one you want for your front. I would like to put the one with the picture on the one front, and then I want this lined one on the other front. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and adhere these. Most of you already know how to adhere a waterfall, but I will show you the first ones, and then I will complete it. So we're just going to put glue on that flap and go all the way up to the top in the middle. Go all the way up to where that paper line is. Try to center it as well as possible. And then press it down. And this is where your little hole in your paper is going to be covered up. As you can see, look, no more hole. And we didn't waste a 1/2 inch of the paper from the paper collection just because there was a hole in it. So that is that side. I'm going to go ahead and adhere another one. I'm going to go with this green, Bless This Nest. So you would just continue every 1/2 inch with your 1/2 inch flaps. Line them up as good as you possibly can. When lining them up, you want to make sure they do not overlap the last one. And look at your folio closed to make sure that everything is lining up nicely before you burnish down that next one. Okay, so I'm going to finish up these waterfall pages and I'll be back. So I've already added some of the mats and such in my folio, and I want to show you how to make the front pocket. So this is going to go on the inside front, and you're going to need a sheet of the white cardstock that measures 8 inches by 5 3/8 inch. And then you're just going to go in and you're going to score that, lay it on your scoring board at the 8 inch, score it at 1/2 on one side, score in at that 7.5 mark, which will give you a 1/2 inch on this side. Flip your paper around so that you're at the 5 3/8 and score 1/2 inch all the way down. Then with scissors, just miter those corners right at the intersection. Fold your score lines and burnish those down. And then we're going to grab a piece of the paper, and I've cut the pink for my pocket cover here. And this is going to measure 4 3/4 by 6 7/8. And I'm just going to glue that up. And cover my pocket with that, leaving a little bit of white showing, as we have done with everything in here. Make sure that's nice and even. And get that burnished down. All that glue needs to be burnished. And then you just want to either use score tape or glue on the back on those flaps. I'm going to put this on my 1/2 inch flaps. And then bring your pocket in, and this is our cover again of our book. You want to bring this pocket in and line it up so that the hole, the place that has no scored flaps, to the front. Bring that right up, lined up with your page, so that you have it right next to that score line, but not overlapping it, and as close to the edge on this side as is possible. Now we're just going to burnish that down, and that's going to give us this pocket on the very front of our folio. Next, we're going to make the piece that goes inside of this. For this piece, I have taken a sheet of the Artisan cardstock in white and measured that out to be 5 by 6.5, and I've scored down one side at 1/2 inch. So then you have your second piece of white Artisan cardstock. This is also going to measure 4.5 by 6.5, which is what you will have once you fold that at the 5 mark at 1/2 inch. So then what we want to do, I'm going to use score tape for this just to make sure it's nice and strong. And I'm going to run score tape down that 1/2 inch flap. And burnish that tape down nicely, as well as that flap as well as possible. And we are going to pull that off. Now I'm going to bring in my scoreboard so that I can line this up nice and straight. I'm going to set my piece with the score tape on it down, and then my other piece, I'm going to butt this up right in that corner. I'm going to hold this down and make sure we're all nice and straight. And this will make it so that this lines up nicely to make this part of it a little easier. As you can see, everything lines up nice and neat. So then I've cut a piece of the blue here at 4 3/8 by 6 3/8, and this is going to go on my cover of this. So once that is all adhered, I added another piece of paper, of the designer paper, that measures 4 inches by 6, and I rounded those corners, put those on that blue mat that we just cut, and I added a fun little feature with 2 more pieces. I took a scrap of the green that measures 3 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then I cut the cut apart down to 3 by 4, and I added hinges, so 1 inch hinges that were scored at half and then folded, and then one is placed here, so you have this fun little opening, and the other was placed on the green paper so that you have this fun little opening. I also lined this with a border strip of stickers and this sticker here, and then the light blue paper for my inside is 4 1/8 by 6 1/8. And again, you can see how this works. It just slides in the inside that way and goes right there. So that is the end of my tutorial. I hope that you make some fun folios yourself and share them with us on Scrapbookers of Country Craft Creations. Thanks for watching, and happy paper crafting.